Hello friends, my name is Tabassum Sultana. I am a student of Government Degree College, Kukatpalli. I am pursuing my BCom first year. Our present session is about the fundamental concepts of business, in which we are going to learn about economic activities, business, industry, commerce, trade and aids to trade. Firstly, we'll see what is human activities. What do you mean by human activities? We all are called as human beings, and activities means the things or the works which we do are called as activities. Man is a social being, means every individual needs some basic requirements to survive their life, that is food, clothes and shelter, means roti, kapda and makan. These are the basic necessities of a person. So to satisfy these basic needs, a person will engage in some work. Generally, we see that people are engaged in some kind of work in order to earn their livelihood and to acquire wealth. So the activities that are engaged in some kind of work to earn money, it is called as a human activities. Human activities are identified as economic and non-economic activities. We'll see what are the classification of human activities. Human activities are broadly classified into two types, that is economic activities and non-economic activities. Economic activities are further classified into three types, that is business, profession and employment. Non-economic activities. Non-economic activities are classified into four: leisure activities, family activities, religious and cultural activities, social activities. Firstly, we'll see what is economic activities. Economic activities. Economic activities means the activities that are concerned with money. Means these activities are related to production and distribution of goods and services, either for the consumption purpose or for the purpose of selling. The main motive of this activity is to earn profit, and these activities can be measured in terms of money. Example of economic activity is a doctor. When we go to a doctor, he'll cure us, but he charges some fees for rendering his services. Here, the main motive of the doctor is to earn money from rendering his services. Now we'll see what is non-economic activity. Non-economic activities means the activities that are not concerned with the earning of money. These activities are related to social, religious or self-satisfaction purpose. These activities are not concerned with the earning of money, and these activities cannot be measured in terms of money. The main motive of these activities is to render the services or serve the society. Example is a program started by a Prime Minister Narendra Modi, that is Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. In this program is related to the cleanliness in the society. Many people are engaged in this program and they are performing the activities in this program. They are rendering services, but they are not charging any fees, because this they are doing for the society. They are serving the society. So the motive of the people is not to earn money. So the activities where money is the main motive, it is called as a non-economic activity. Now we'll see what are the classification of economic activities. Economic activities are broadly classified into three types, that is profession, employment and business. We'll see what do you mean by profession. Profession is an occupation in which a person will render his services. These services are based on their knowledge, qualification or training. A person need to have minimum qualification in profession, like doctor. Doctor need to have an MBBS degree. So a specific qualification is required to perform in the business profession, and they charge some fees for rendering the services. Like doctor, he charges some fees for rendering or curing us. The main motive is to earn money from rendering the services. In this, investment is also required. Because a doctor has completed his studies, means he need to establish his hospital or office. He need to make some investment to start up his profession. And in this, before starting a profession, the person has to take training and need to have some experience for the profession, and he charged some fees for rendering his services. Now we'll see the next. What is employment? Employment is a type of an occupation in which there is an agreement between two persons called employer and employee. Employer is a person who manages a business, and employee means a person who works under the employer. So there is an agreement between employer and employee. The employee must and should follow the rules and the regulations that is set by the employer. In employment, investment is not required, and even specific qualification is not required. Just the employee need to have some skills about the work which he is doing, and investment is not required, because when we start our own business we need to invest some money, but in employment we are working under some other people, so we need not to make any investment, and there is no risk, and even transfer of ownership is not possible in employment, because employment is based on our personal skills, so it cannot be transferred. The person who is working in employment can also will get wages, salaries and allowance. The person who is working under profession can also come into employment, either by the government organizations or by the private organizations. The employee need to improve his skills like communication skills, training qualities, leadership qualities, because these qualities or these skills may vary from job to job. Now we will see what is business. What do you mean by business? Generally we say that business means a state of being busy. Let's take a small example. Two persons are walking on a footpath. They are very busy in talk, but are they doing any business? No. So this is not the correct definition of business. In economic sense, business means work, effort and action of the people to produce wealth. It is called as business. According to L.H. Haney, business means a human activity that is concerned with production and distribution of goods to acquire wealth. It is called as business. In business, investment is required, because when we are starting our business, we need to put some capital to start up the business or to run the business, and specific qualification is not required in business. Just we need to have some information regarding the nature of work which we are starting. And risk is high in business, and even profits are also high in business. Transfer of ownership is possible in business through some legal formalities. Till now we have seen what do you mean by business. Now we'll see what are the features of business. Features: economic activity. Business is an economic activity. It is related to production and distribution of goods and services. So all those activities are concerned as economic activity. Profit motive. The main aim of business is to earn profit, or the main objective of business is to earn profit. The business can earn profit by satisfying the needs and the wants of the customer. If business satisfy the needs of the customer, they'll earn more and more profits. Risk and uncertainty. Every business has a term called risk. Risk means possibility of losses. So there may be any losses. So business need to overcome the risk and try to sell their product and earn profits. Continuity of transaction. A single transaction cannot be told as a business. There should be continuity in transaction of purchasing and selling of goods. Then only it is called as a business. Consumer satisfaction. It is the main objective or main feature of business, because every business can be run through this customer satisfaction, because without customer satisfaction a business cannot be run. Whenever the business satisfy the customer, they once again visit to the business, and it helps to maximize the profit of the business. Financing. Financing is very important for a business organization, because finance means capital. Capital is like blood to the business. How blood is important to us, like that only finance is very important to the business. Without finance, a business cannot be started and cannot be run. Bank provide different types of loans and advances to the business organization to start up the business or to run the business. Creation of utility. Business deals with the production and distribution of goods and services. So it creates different types of utility like form utility, place utility, and time utility. Satisfying social need. Business also plays a very important role in the society because it serves the society by satisfying the needs and the wants of the customer. Now we'll see what are the elements of business. Business is broadly classified into two types, that is industry and commerce. Industry. Industry is the primary aspects of business. Industry is concerned with production of goods and services. Industry is the backbone for commerce and trade. Without the help of industry, there is no work of commerce and trade. Industry is the goods that are produced by industry are classified into three types, that is consumer goods, producer goods, and intermediary goods. Consumer goods. Consumer goods means the goods that are purchased by the consumer for the consumption purpose but not for the profit motive. It is called as consumer goods. Example, breads, groceries, etc. Producer goods. Producer goods are the goods that are purchased by the organization for the purpose of reproducing it or for the purpose of selling and making profit from it. It is called as producer goods. Example, machinery. Machinery is used to produce some more goods and make profit from it. It is called as producer goods or capital goods. Intermediary goods means the goods that are not finished or semi-finished goods are called as intermediary goods. Example, aluminium, rubber, etc. Till now we have seen elements, industry and the goods that are produced by the industry. Now we will see the classification of industry. Industries are classified into 5 types, that is primary industry, secondary industry, tertiary industry, size and investment based industry, and technology based industry. Firstly, we will see primary industry. Primary industry is an industry that are concerned with production of goods with the help of nature. In this industry, nature plays a very important role. Example is agriculture. In agricultural activities, nature plays a very important role. Without the help of nature, agricultural activities cannot be done. Primary industry is broadly classified into 2 types, that is genetic industry and extractive industry. Genetic industry means the industry that is concerned with reproducing or multiplication of some species of plants and animals. Example of genetic industry is poultry farms. When a person starts a poultry farm, he may have 100 to 200 hens, but after a month or 2 months, that hens will reproduce themselves. They make them more and more. So here also nature plays a very important role. So it comes under a genetic industry. Extractive industry means extracting wealth from soil, water or land or beneath the surface of land. Example is coal mining. Coal is present in the beneath the surface of land. So they dug the earth and get the coal out of it and make a cell of it. So they are taking the nature's product and selling and earning profit. So it comes under an extractive industry. Now we'll see what is secondary industry. Secondary industry means the industry that uses the product of primary industry to produce more products. It is called as secondary industry. Secondary industry is broadly classified into 2 types, that is construction industry and manufacturing industry. Construction industry. The name itself is saying construction, means the industry that is related to the construction work. It is called as construction industry, like roads, dams, etc. So this industry is related to the construction works, and in this industry they'll use the final product of other industries like cements, bricks, steel, etc. Manufacturing industry. Manufacturing industry is an industry that is concerned with the manufacturing of goods or conversion of raw materials into a finished product. Manufacturing industry will uses the final product of other industries like extractive industry, and the products which we use in our daily life are produced by this manufacturing industry. Now we'll see what is tertiary industry. Tertiary industry is also called as service industry because it renders services. Tertiary industry renders services like transportation, banking, insurance, warehousing, advertising. Transportation means it helps to carry the goods from the place of production to the place of consumption. Warehousing helps to store the goods and create time utility of the goods. Bank helps to business organizations by lending loans. Insurance company will act as a risk bearer to the business organization. Advertisement, it will attract the customer towards the new product that is existing in the market. Size and investment based industry. So based on the capital invested, production and the labors employed, industries are classified into 4 types, that is micro industry, small scale industry, medium scale industry and large scale industry. Micro industry is an industry that produce goods on very small basis, in which having investment up to 25 lakhs and less than 10 employees. Very few brands are produced by this micro industry and they have a less transactions and they get good profits in this industry. Small scale industry is an industry that produce goods on small scale basis and having investment more than 25 lakhs but not exceeding 5 crores and having less than 50 employees. Very few brands are produced by this small scale industry and they uses normal technology and inexpensive machinery to produce their goods. As the machinery is not so expensive and even investment is not good, the quality of the product is also low and they get good profits in this industry. Medium scale industry. There is no official or proper definition for medium scale industry because it is clubbed between small scale industry and large scale industry. The industry that having investment more than 5 crores but not exceeding 10 crores, it is called as medium scale industry and having less than 250 employees. Very few brands are produced by this medium scale industry and they get very good profits in this industry. Large scale industry, the name itself is saying large scale, means the industry that produce goods on large basis. It is called as large scale industries and having investment more than 10 crores means, and there is no limit for investment in large scale industries and having more than 250 employees. This industry uses highly sophisticated technology to produce their goods and even they uses expensive machinery to produce their goods. And many of the brands are produced by large scale industry and they get huge profit in this industry. Now we will see technology based industry. So different types of industries are using different type of technology. So based on technology use, industries are classified into 2 types, that is heavy industry and light industry. Heavy industry is an industry that have a huge capital investment and long-term production cycle. They uses highly sophisticated technology. As investment is more, they put more investment in the technology and uses expensive machinery to produce their goods. So they get highly sophisticated technology produce their goods. It is called as a heavy industry. Example of heavy industry is steel industry. Steel industry is also called as heavy industry because they uses highly sophisticated technology to produce their goods. Light industry. Light industry is an industry that produces goods on small basis and uses normal technology to produce their goods and having short-term duration of production and uses normal technology to the goods and inexpensive machinery to produce their goods. Example is paper industry, textile industry, etc. Till now we have seen industry and its classification. Now we'll see what is commerce. Commerce is a part of a business activity. It is a secondary aspects of business. Commerce is concerned with distribution of goods and services. Commerce is the sum of trade and aids to trade. Commerce is classified into two types, that is trade and aids to trade. Trade is classified into two types, that is internal trade and external trade. Internal trade is again classified into two types, that is wholesale trade and retail trade. External trade is classified into three types, that is export trade, import trade and entry port. Aids to trade are broadly classified into six types, that is transportation, warehousing, banking, insurance, communication and advertising. We'll see firstly what is trade and its classification. Trade is a branch of commerce. Trade means buying and selling of goods. Trade is the backbone of commerce because without trade, commerce cannot be done. Trade means buying and selling of goods. The person who is engaged in the trading business, he is called as a trader, and the main motive of trade is to earn profit. Trade is broadly classified into two types, that is home trade and foreign trade. Firstly, we'll see what is home trade. Home trade means the trade which takes place within the boundaries of a country, means in only one country. Home trade is also called as domestic trade or internal trade. In home trade, both the buyers and the sellers belongs to the same country. As the business or the trade is done on national basis, so national currency is used in home trade. Home trade is further classified into two types, that is wholesale trade and retail trade. Wholesale trade and retail trade. As we know that there is a chain of distribution of goods from producer to wholesaler, wholesaler to retailer and retailer to consumer. So wholesaler is the middleman between the producer and the retailer. He buys the goods from the wholesaler, he buys the goods from the producer and sell it to the retailer. So wholesaler is the middleman between producer and the retailer. The person who is engaged in wholesale trade, he is called as a wholesaler, and wholesaler buys large quantity of goods but in a small variety. We see wholesale shops, they have many large quantity of goods but they put very small variety of goods. Retail trade, retailer is the middleman between the wholesaler and the consumer, and this is the last chain of distribution because he directly sell it to the consumer. Retailer buys the goods from wholesaler and sell it to the consumer. So he is the middleman between the wholesaler and the consumer. The retailer, the person who is engaged in the retail trade, he is called as a retailer, and he buys large variety of goods but in a small quantity. Retail shops that we see near around us, it is called as retail shops. Now we'll see what are foreign trades. Foreign trade means the trade which take place between two or more countries. It is called as foreign trade. Foreign trade is also called as international trade or external trade. In this, means of transport is used as sea routes, air routes, etc. As this trade is done on international basis, international currency is used. Foreign trade is again classified into three types, that is export trade, import trade and entry port. Export trade means when we sell our country goods to other countries, it is called as export trade, means we are exporting our goods to others. Example, agriculture is India is very famous for agricultural activities, so we export our agriculture products to different countries. It is called as export trade. Import trade means when we buy goods from other countries, it is called as import trade, means we are importing goods from different countries. Example, we are importing petrol from Iran and Iraq. Entry port trade means when we import goods from one country and export the same good to other country, it is called as entry port trade. It is also called as re-export trade, means we are exporting the same goods to other country. It is called as entry port trade. Example of entry port trade is we are buying diamonds from Australia and selling the same diamonds to America. So it is called as an entry port trade. Now we will see what are the auxiliaries to trade. Trade means buying and selling of goods or distribution of goods. So during the transfer of goods from one place to another place, there may be many possibility of losses. So auxiliaries to trade helps to reduce the losses by transportation, warehousing, banking, insurance, communication and advertisement. Transportation. As the industries or the production places are located at very far places, so transport helps to carry the goods from the place of production to the place of consumption. It helps to create place utility and makes the goods available in all the places. Warehousing. Ware means goods, housing means a place where they are stored. So the goods where they are stored, it is called as warehouses. As we know that goods are produced at one time but not consumed at the same time. Example, agricultural product like rice. It is a seasonal product which is being produced in the first 3 months of our calendar year, that is January, February and March. So but we need that rice throughout the year. So the producer will store the rice into the warehouses and supply as per the demand of the customer. It creates time utility and makes the goods available at all the time to the customer. Banking. Banks provides loans to the business organization. As finance is very important for business, so bank will lend loans to the business organization to start up the business or to run the business or to expand the business. It plays a very important role in business organization. Insurance. As we know that every business has a term called risk. Risk means possibility of losses. So this risk can be reduced through insurance. Like during the transfer of goods from one place to another place, there may be any possibility of losses like accident, fire accident or any other natural calamities. This possibility of losses can be reduced by insurance. If the producer has a policy or insurance policy on the goods, if any damage have occurred means the insurance company will cover the risk or act as a risk bearer for the business organization. Communication. Communication is very important because the customer or the producer need to know the price of the product, the quality of the product, the demand of the product, etc. So communication established a contacts between businessman and the consumer. Advertising. Advertisement means when a new product is existing in the market, how the other customer know. It is through advertisement. Advertisement is done through newspaper, pamphlets, electronic media, etc. This helps the customer to know the price of the product, the demand of the product, the quality of the product and the new product that is existing in the market. It also helps to know the customer where to buy, when to buy and what to buy. Advertisement attracts the customer. Like we see advertisement in the TV and will attract to it and will purchase it. So like that only advertisement attracts the customer to purchase the new product that is existing in the market. Till now we have seen business activities. In that business activity we have seen industry, commerce and trade. Now we'll see what is the relationship between industry, commerce and trade. Industry. Industry means industry, commerce and trade are interrelated with each other. They are the part of business activities. Industry means production of goods and services. Commerce involves all those activities that are related to distribution of goods and services. Trade is a channel of purchasing and selling of goods. So industry, commerce and trade are interrelated with each other. One cannot function without the support of other. Industry, commerce and trade naturally have the profit motive. And the main objective of industry, commerce and trade is to earn profit and to satisfy the ever-growing needs of the customer or human beings. Industry is equals to commerce and trade. The main objective of industry, commerce and trade is to earn profit and to satisfy the wants and the needs of the customer. Commerce cannot be done without industry. No commercial activity can be done without industry. Commerce helps industry before and after the production of goods by purchasing of raw materials and selling the finished product of industry. Trade also creates demand for the industrial products and make is sell of it and earn profit from that. So these industry, commerce and trade are interrelated. One cannot function without the support of others. Now we'll see what is the difference between industry, commerce and trade. Based on the meaning, scope, utility, investment and risk, industries are differentiated. Industry is a place where the production of goods and services take place. Commerce is related to the distribution of goods and services. Trade means buying and selling of goods. The scope of industry is conversion of raw materials into a finished product. The scope of commerce is trade and aids to trade. The scope of commerce is trade and aids to trade. The scope of trade is internal trade and external trade. Industry creates form utility. By changing the shape and the size of the product, it will create demand for the product. Example, a wooden stick. When a wooden stick is there, no one will buy to it. But when the wooden stick is converted into a chair, the people demand for that wooden chair. So it creates form utility for the product. Commerce creates place and time utility. Commerce helps to distribute the goods from one place to another place. Means it helps to carry the goods from the place of production to the place of consumption. And it creates place utility for the goods. And also creates time utility by storing the goods into the warehouses. Trade creates possession utility. Means place and time utility by carrying goods from one place to another place and by storing goods into the warehouses. Trade creates place and time utility. Capital invested. Industry required huge capital investment because it is done on large scale basis. Industry need more capital when compared to commerce and trade. Commerce also required more capital for distribution of goods and services, but when compared to industry, it required less. Trade also need some capital investment because it deals with the purchasing and selling of goods. So, but trade required low in capital investment when compared to industry and commerce. Risk. Industry have high risk because it produce goods on large basis. It have high risk. Commerce have low risk. Trade has also moderate risk because it deals with the distribution of goods. It have moderate risk when compared to commerce. Conclusion. Till now we have discussed in a present session that all human activities are classified into two types, that is economic activities and non-economic activities. Economic activities means the activities that are concerned with earning of money. Economic activities are related to the production and distribution of goods and services. Non-economic activities means the activities that are not concerned with the earning of money. Generally, these activities are related to religious, social and self-satisfaction purpose. Economic activities are broadly classified into three types, that is business, profession and employment. Business means a human activity that is related to production and distribution of goods and services for earning profit. In business, investment is required and high risk is there in business. The next is profession. Profession is a type of an occupation in which they'll render their personal services. Minimum qualification is required for professional person and he charges some fees for rendering his services. And employment is also a type of an occupation in which a person will render his services and there is an agreement between two persons called employer and employee. So they have to the employee need to follow the rules and the regulations that is set by the employer and he to work under the employer. No investment is required in employment because he is working under some other person. We need not to make any investment. And in employment, risk is not there, and even transfer of ownership is not possible in employment. Now then we have discussed briefly about business activities. Business means a human activities that is engaged in production and distribution of goods for earning profits. Business is broadly classified into two, that is industry and commerce. Industry is the primary aspects of business which is related to production of goods and services. Industry is the backbone of commerce and trade. Without the help of industry, commerce and trade cannot be done. Industry produces three types of goods, that is consumer goods, producer goods and capital goods. Consumer goods means the goods that are used by the consumers for the purpose of consumption. Producer goods means the goods that are used by the organization for reproducing or reselling or making profit from it. It is called as producer goods, or it is also called as capital goods. The next is intermediary goods. Intermediary goods means it is also called as semi-finished goods or conversion of raw materials into a finished product. Example, rubber, aluminium, etc. Industry are further classified into 5 types: primary industry, secondary industry, tertiary industry, size and investment based industry, technology based industry. Primary industry. Primary industry is also called as primary industry is an industry that produces goods with the help of nature. Example, agriculture. Primary industry is classified into 2 types, that is genetic industry and extractive industry. Secondary industry. Secondary industry is an industry that produces goods by using the product of primary industry. Secondary industry is broadly classified into 2 types, that is construction industry and manufacturing industry. Tertiary industry. Tertiary industry is also called as service industry because it provides services like transport, warehousing, insurance, banking, advertisement. Size and investment based industry. Based on size and investment, industries are classified into 4 types, that is micro industry, small scale industry, medium scale industry and large scale industry. Then technology based industry. Based on the technology used, industries are classified into 2 types, that is heavy industry and light industry. Then we have discussed about commerce. Commerce is classified into 2 types, that is trade and aids to trade. Trade is broadly classified into 2 types, that is internal trade and external trade. Internal trade means the trade which takes place within the boundaries of a country. Internal trade is again classified into 2 types, that is wholesale trade and retail trade. Then foreign trade. Foreign trade is also called as external trade. Foreign trade means the trade that takes place between 2 or more countries. It is called as foreign trade. Foreign trade is broadly classified into 3 types, that is import trade, export trade and entry port. Then aids to trade. During the transfer of goods and services, there may be many problems. It helps auxiliaries to trade or aids to trade helps to remove that losses through transportation, warehousing, banking, insurance, communication and advertisement. Then we have discussed about the relationship between industry, commerce and trade. Industry is a place where the goods are produced and commerce is related to the distribution of goods and services. And trade is related to the purchasing and selling of goods. Industry, commerce and trade are interrelated with each other and they are the part of a business activity. So one cannot function without the support of other. So industry, commerce and trade naturally have the profit motive. The main aim of industry, commerce and trade is to earn profit and to satisfy the needs and the wants of the customer. Here without the trade creates the demand for the industrial product, and commerce is no commercial activity can be done without the help of industry. Commerce helps industry before and after the production of goods and services by purchasing the raw materials and selling the finished product. Then we have discussed about the difference between industry, commerce and trade. Based on the meaning, scope, utility and the capital invested and risk, industries are different. Industry, commerce and trade are differentiated. Like industry have time and industry has form utility, commerce has place and time utility, trade has possession utility. Industry required huge investment when compared to commerce and trade. Industry has more risk and trade has moderate risk. Commerce has less risk when compared to industry and commerce. Scope of industry is production of goods and services. The scope of commerce is trade and aids to trade. The scope of trade is internal trade and external trade. Industry means production of goods and services. Industry means production of goods and services. Commerce means distribution of goods and services. And trade means buying and selling of goods. Thank you. I would like to thank the Commissionerate for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.